Have you ever wondered how people really talk during a crisis? Not the way it's shown in movies, but how neighbors actually communicate when everything familiar suddenly disappears. Today, I'm going to share a true story. A story about one of the worst natural disasters in recent American history and the extraordinary way a community responded. This is advanced English. This is real English. And this is the kind of listening practice that prepares you for authentic conversations about serious topics. Hi, everyone. I'm Sadie, and welcome to Artificial Fluency Podcast. Before we begin, I want to say something from my heart. I upload new videos to our channel every day for you to learn and grow. Don't forget to support me so I can continue doing this. You can help me see our channel in front of more people by subscribing, becoming a member, liking, and commenting on each of my videos. Please don't forget to do these. Thank you for your support. Today's episode is different from our usual content. We're going to explore a real event, Hurricane Helene, which struck Asheville, North Carolina on September 27th, 2024. This is an advanced listening practice designed for C1 and C2 learners. We'll discuss natural disasters, infrastructure failure, community response, and human resilience, all while learning sophisticated vocabulary and authentic expressions. I want to be clear. This story involves real suffering. People lost their homes, their businesses, and in some cases, their lives. I'll tell this story with the respect it deserves, while also helping you understand the language we use to discuss crises, emergencies, and community resilience. You'll hear advanced vocabulary related to disasters, infrastructure, emergency response, and collective action. You'll also hear authentic expressions that native speakers use when discussing serious, emotionally complex topics. This is the kind of English you need if you want to engage in meaningful conversations about real-world events, conversations that matter. Let's begin with what happened. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep improving your English with us. September 27th, 2024, Asheville, North Carolina. A city nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains, known for its artistic community, natural beauty, and relative safety from major disasters. Hurricane Helene was approaching. But hurricanes don't typically devastate mountain communities hundreds of miles from the coast. So residents were cautiously prepared, but not deeply alarmed. The forecast called for heavy rain, potential flooding in predictable low-lying areas, the kind of weather event that happens occasionally, but isn't catastrophic. Let me introduce you to some key vocabulary here. When we say something is low-lying, we mean it's at a low elevation, near sea level or near water level. Low-lying areas are always the first to flood. Now, catastrophic is an important word. It doesn't just mean bad or very bad. It means total, complete devastation, destruction on a scale that fundamentally changes everything. A catastrophic event is one that breaks systems entirely. In the days before the storm, a local woman named Elsa, who worked for an English teaching company, filled pots with water for a percussion. Her partner thought she was overreacting. He said it was a little embarrassing that she was preparing so thoroughly. This phrase, a little embarrassing, is very natural. It's how we soften criticism or express mild disapproval. It's not harsh. It's gentle skepticism. Schools were canceled for rain the day before. This was considered surprising. Canceling school for rain is unusual in a region accustomed to weather. Then the storm hit. Around 5 or 6 a.m. on September 27th, Elsa woke to what she described as a torrential downpour. Torrential is a powerful adjective. specifically for extremely heavy rain. It comes from torrent, meaning a violent, rushing stream. When rain is torrential, it's not just heavy, it's overwhelming, almost violent in its intensity. Her partner, who worked at a hospital, had to drive to work that morning. He drove through standing water on major highways, Interstates 40 and 26. Standing water is water that has pooled and isn't flowing. It's stagnant, accumulated water on surfaces that are normally dry. When there's standing water on a highway, it's a serious danger sign. Then the power went out. Immediately after, cell service disappeared. Suddenly, Elsa was completely isolated. No electricity, no phone, no internet, no way to communicate with the outside world or receive information about what was happening. She described this isolation as surreal, restrictive, and confusing. Let's pause on these words. Surreal means dreamlike, strange, disconnected from normal reality. When something is surreal, it feels like it can't possibly be real. Restrictive means limiting, confining. Without communication, she felt trapped, unable to reach beyond her immediate surroundings. She said something profound about this experience. She wondered whether being isolated from information was protective or harmful. Was it better not to know how bad things were? Or worse, not to know if you were in the eye of the storm? The eye of the storm is both a literal and metaphorical phrase. Literally, it's the calm center of a hurricane. Metaphorically, it means being at the center of a crisis. When you're in the eye of the storm, you're experiencing the worst of a chaotic situation. What Elsa didn't know yet was that the small town of Swannanoa, just east of Asheville, was being completely destroyed. The river running through Swannanoa rose 20 to 25 feet. Houses were submerged past their roofs. People died. Bodies were seen floating in the river. This is where language becomes difficult. How do we talk about such horror with respect? We say things like, there were fatalities, lives were lost, people perished. These are formal, somewhat clinical ways to discuss death. They create emotional distance, which can be necessary when discussing tragedy. We don't say these phrases coldly. We say them quietly, respectfully, acknowledging the weight of what we're saying. The infrastructure of the region collapsed entirely. Not partially, entirely. Infrastructure refers to the basic physical systems of a society. Roads, bridges, power lines, water systems, communication networks. When infrastructure collapses, modern life becomes impossible. Power was out for over 2 weeks. Water service was unavailable for 3 weeks. Roads were impassable, blocked by landslides, fallen trees, downed power lines, and standing water. A landslide is when earth and rock suddenly slide down a slope. In one case, an entire house slid into a road. A major bridge to the local nature center was completely destroyed. Not damaged, destroyed. It was cut in half, a phrase that conveys total structural failure. This was Hurricane Helene, one of the worst natural disasters in U.S. history. And the community was about to show what humans are capable of when everything falls apart.
For several days after the hurricane, Elsa remained in her neighborhood. Her area had been spared direct flooding, but it was cut off from the rest of the world by fallen trees and destroyed roads. She had no official information. Everything she learned came from hearsay, rumors, and unverified information passed neighbor to neighbor. Hearsay is a legal and colloquial term meaning information you heard from someone else, not information you witnessed directly. It's secondhand, unverified. In normal times, hearsay is unreliable. In a crisis with no communication, it's the only information available. She heard through hearsay about people stranded, emergency rescues, and deaths on adjacent streets. Then a rumor spread that the local water treatment dam had failed and was about to flood her neighborhood. With no way to verify this information, no internet, no news, no official channels, people had to decide, do we believe this rumor? Do we evacuate based on unverified information? This is the kind of decision-making that happens in real crises. You act on incomplete information because waiting for certainty might be fatal. Elsa and her partner decided to evacuate. They joined what must have been a panicked exodus from the area. Exodus is a powerful word. It means a mass departure, a large group of people leaving a place simultaneously. The word carries biblical weight. It refers to the escape of the Israelites from Egypt. When we use exodus in modern contexts, we're evoking that sense of urgent collective flight. But evacuation presented its own challenges. Gas stations had no power, which meant fuel shortages. Shortage is a crucial word for crisis situations. It means insufficient supply. When there's a shortage, demand exceeds availability. Food shortages, water shortages, fuel shortages. These are the language markers of catastrophe. Elsa and her partner made their way to a hospital, then stayed with family in the town of Hendersonville for about a week. When they returned home, they lived for 2 weeks without power and 3 weeks without running water. Think about that. 3 weeks without turning on a faucet and getting clean water. 3 weeks of washing hands with water from bottles. 3 weeks of not being able to shower in your own home. They relied on camping skills, techniques typically used for outdoor recreation, now essential for survival in their own house. But here's where the story shifts, because while the infrastructure had collapsed, something else was being built, a network of mutual aid and collective resilience. Mutual aid is a specific term in disaster response. It means people helping each other directly, without waiting for institutions or government. It's grassroots, neighbor-to-neighbor, community-organized support. With communications down, people came out of their houses to check on each other and share information face-to-face. Neighborhood chainsaw crews formed spontaneously. These weren't organized by any authority. They were just people with chainsaws who started cutting up fallen trees and clearing roads. Spontaneously is key here. It means happening naturally, without planning or external organization. The community didn't wait for someone to tell them what to do. They saw what needed to be done and did it. People with dump trucks and heavy machinery mobilized to help. Mobilized is a term originally from military contexts, meaning to organize and deploy resources for action. When a community mobilizes, people move from passive to active, from waiting to doing. Neighbors shared food from thawing freezers. Without power, frozen food was spoiling, so people cooked communal meals using camping grills. One household used their above-ground pool as a water source, not for drinking, but for flushing toilets for elderly neighbors who couldn't access water otherwise. Think about the ingenuity required here, the resourcefulness. Resourcefulness means the ability to find creative solutions with limited resources. It's a highly valued trait in American culture, especially in crisis situations. People used four-wheelers and off-roading vehicles to check on residents in remote areas that were now completely inaccessible by car. This was the beginning of the community response, uncoordinated, chaotic, but driven by a fundamental human impulse. We take care of each other. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep improving your English with us.
As days passed, the spontaneous neighbor-to-neighbor aid evolved into something more organized. Local businesses transformed their operations to serve the community. Blunt Pretzels, a local business, began cooking and serving 3 free meals a day.
They committed to continuing the service for a full year. Not a few days, not a few weeks, but a year. An organization called Bounty and Soul, which normally ran food markets, redirected all its resources to the hardest hit areas, Swannanoa and Black Mountain. World Central Kitchen, an international humanitarian organization known for feeding people in crisis zones, arrived to provide meals. But perhaps most striking was the arrival of external help from across North America. Utility trucks and electrical workers came from across the United States. Linemen, the workers who repair power lines, came from states across the country. Even French-Canadian linemen from Ottawa traveled to Asheville to help restore power. Lineman is occupational vocabulary. These are the skilled workers who climb power poles and repair electrical infrastructure. In a crisis, they're often some of the most essential workers. Volunteers from New York, Ohio, Chicago, and Texas traveled to Asheville to assist in rebuilding efforts. Rebuilding efforts is a phrase we use for the long-term process of physical reconstruction after a disaster. It's not rescue operations, that's immediate. Rebuilding is the months and years of work to restore normalcy. Here's something remarkable that emerged from the crisis: political unity. 2024 was an election year in America, a time of deep political division. But in Asheville, in the aftermath of the hurricane, that division vanished. The focus was entirely on mutual support. The atmosphere was described as us, the community, together. Not us versus them, not my political party versus yours, just us. This is a powerful observation about human nature. When facing existential threat, ideological differences become irrelevant. Survival and compassion take precedence. The phrase used was transcended political divisions. Transcended means to rise above, to go beyond the limits of something. When something transcends, it operates on a higher plane than usual concerns. There's also a global dimension to this story. An English teaching platform called Speak English with Vanessa has students all over the world. When these students learned about the disaster in Asheville, where some of the platform's staff lived, they donated $20,000 out of pure goodwill. This money was used for helicopter fuel. Private citizens with helicopters were flying into remote mountain areas to rescue people who were trapped. The donated funds paid for the fuel for these rescue missions. Think about that chain of connection. Students learning English in countries all over the world, contributing money that literally powered rescue helicopters in North Carolina. It's a beautiful example of how interconnected our world has become. The platform also launched a fundraiser where 20% of all course revenue would be donated to a local charity called Beloved Asheville, an organization that rebuilds homes for free for hurricane survivors. This is the language of organized relief: fundraiser, donation, charity, and rebuilding. A fundraiser is an organized effort to collect money for a specific cause. A donation is money given freely without expectation of return. A charity is an organization dedicated to helping others, typically operating as a nonprofit. And survivors is the word we use for people who lived through a catastrophic event. It carries weight. It acknowledges that survival itself is an accomplishment. 1 year after Hurricane Helene, the community continues to process what happened. The physical landscape bears permanent scars. The bridge to the nature center remains cut in half, a constant, jarring reminder of the disaster. Jarring is a sophisticated adjective meaning shocking, disturbing, creating mental discomfort. A jarring sight is one that disrupts your sense of normalcy and forces you to confront something unpleasant. The psychological impact runs even deeper. People experience what's called survivor's guilt, the feeling of guilt that you survived or were spared when others suffered or died. Survivor's guilt is a recognized psychological phenomenon. It's the emotional burden of having been luckier than others, especially when that luck seems arbitrary or unfair.
Vanessa, who runs the English teaching platform, described feeling this guilt because her home was relatively unaffected, while others lost everything. She felt compelled to volunteer to do hands-on work, partially to alleviate her own emotional burden. She said something revealing. "My couple hours isn't going to change the world, but it might help me in a selfish, giving back to me kind of way." This is honest. She's acknowledging that volunteering serves the helper as much as the helped, that there's a psychological need to participate in relief efforts, to not just watch from the sidelines. The broader community also carries lasting trauma. People developed a fear of natural elements that were once benign, trees and rivers. Before the hurricane, trees were beautiful parts of the landscape. Now they're potential threats that might fall and kill you. Before the hurricane, rivers were scenic waterways. Now they're agents of destruction that might rise 20 feet and swallow your home. This is what trauma does. It recontextualizes the familiar as dangerous. But from this darkness emerged powerful philosophical insights. Elsa, who experienced the evacuation and the aftermath, articulated a concept she called small is all. Small is all means that small individual actions, when multiplied across many people, become transformative collective action. One person with a chainsaw clearing one tree doesn't change much. 100 people with chainsaws clearing 100 trees opens roads and reconnects communities. One neighbor sharing water from their pool doesn't solve the water crisis, but dozens of neighbors sharing resources keeps everyone alive. She described the experience as having an electric feeling of banding together. Electric here is metaphorical. It means energized, thrilling, charged with intensity. Banding together means uniting for a common purpose. It evokes the image of individual bands linking together to form a chain. She said they were transmuting the crisis and leveraging their grief. These are sophisticated, almost poetic phrases. Transmuting means transforming something into something else, specifically transforming something base into something valuable. The word has alchemical roots, evoking the medieval attempt to turn lead into gold. Here, it means turning disaster into community strength. Leveraging means using something as a tool to achieve greater impact. When you leverage grief, you're channeling that powerful emotion into productive action rather than letting it paralyze you. Finally, there's a quote from Pancho Vermeo, co-director of beloved Asheville, the rebuilding organization. He said, "I'm not worried about who is not here. I'm worried about who is here. And this is the people in the community and the power of all these people. We believe that we are the people that we were waiting for. We are the people that we were waiting for." This is profound. It means stop waiting for someone else to save you. Stop waiting for the government, for experts, for heroes. You are the solution. The community itself is the answer. It's a philosophy of self-reliance, but not individualistic self-reliance. It's collective self-reliance, the community taking responsibility for itself. This mindset shift from passive waiting to active participation is perhaps the most important legacy of the disaster. We've spent 30 minutes together exploring this story, a story of devastation, resilience, and human connection. You've heard advanced vocabulary for discussing natural disasters, catastrophic, torrential, infrastructure, landslides, evacuations, shortages. You've learned sophisticated language for describing community response, mutual aid, spontaneous organization, mobilization, transcending divisions, fundraisers, survivors. And you've encountered profound philosophical language, transmuting crisis, leveraging grief, survivor's guilt, collective self-reliance. But beyond vocabulary, I hope this story illustrated something important about language learning itself.
Real English is the language we use to discuss things that matter. Textbook English teaches you grammar. Real English teaches you how to talk about life, including the hard parts. When you can listen to a 30-minute account of a natural disaster, understand the nuances, appreciate the metaphors, and follow the complex narrative arc, that's advanced proficiency. That's C1 and C2 level English. And if you're here listening to this, engaging with this content, you're building that proficiency right now. The community of Asheville showed us that small actions compound into transformation. Your English learning is the same. Every episode you listen to, every new phrase you absorb, every complex sentence you understand, it's all compounding. You are becoming the English speaker you've been working toward. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for engaging with difficult, meaningful content. Keep listening, keep learning, keep growing. This is Sadie, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, remember, we are the people we've been waiting for. In language learning, as in life, you are your own solution. You know what the difference is between textbook English and real English? Textbook English says, I need to wash my clothes. Real English says, I've got to do laundry. Textbook English says, I'm very busy. Real English says, I'm absolutely swamped. If you want to sound natural, if you want to sound like you actually belong in English-speaking environments, you need to know the phrases people really use. Hi everyone, I'm Sadie, and welcome to Artificial Fluency Podcast. Before we dive into today's advanced lesson, I want to say something from my heart. I upload new videos to our channel every day for you to learn and grow. Don't forget to support me so I can continue doing this. You can help me see our channel in front of more people by subscribing, becoming a member, liking, and commenting on each of my videos. Please don't forget to do these. Thank you for your support. Today's episode is designed specifically for advanced learners, C1 and C2 level, who are tired of sounding formal and textbook-like. You want to sound natural. You want to sound like you belong. We're going to explore 50 everyday English phrases that native speakers use constantly, but that you rarely find in textbooks. These are the expressions that make the difference between sounding fluent and sounding native-like. I'm going to organize these phrases into natural categories based on everyday situations. I'll give you the phrase, explain its nuances, provide context, and share cultural insights. This is advanced content, so I'll speak naturally, at a normal pace with authentic intonation. Your job is to listen actively, absorb the phrases in context, and mentally note the ones you want to start using yourself. Think of this as a masterclass in everyday sophistication. These aren't complicated academic phrases. They're the subtle, natural expressions that separate fluent speakers from native-like speakers. Ready to elevate your English? Let's begin. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep improving your English with us. Let's start with phrases related to everyday household life, the kind of English you need for living, not just for textbooks. Number 1, do the laundry. Not wash clothes. Native speakers say do the laundry or do laundry. The article the is often dropped in casual speech. I need to do laundry this weekend, or I'm doing the laundry right now. This phrase encompasses the entire process: washing, drying, folding. It's a collective term for the whole chore. Number 2, inside out and right side out. When clothing is reversed, we say it's inside out. To fix it, you turn it right side out. My shirt's inside out. I need to turn it right side out. This applies metaphorically too. If you know something very thoroughly, you know it inside and out. Number 3, matching pair versus mismatched. For socks or shoes, we look for a matching pair. If they don't match, they're mismatched. But interestingly, we've also adopted mismatched as a slightly trendy choice. Like, she's wearing mismatched socks on purpose. It's her style. Number 4, swamped or tied up. Instead of very busy, native speakers say, I'm swamped or I'm tied up. Sorry, I can't meet today. I'm absolutely swamped with work. Or, I'm tied up until 3 p.m., but I'm free after that. Both phrases convey being overwhelmed or unavailable, but with a more natural conversational feel. Number 5, run errands. This is huge. We don't say do small tasks outside the house. We say run errands. I'm running errands this morning. Post office, bank, grocery store. It implies multiple small tasks that require leaving home. The word run here doesn't mean physical running. It means to quickly complete. Number 6, stock up on something. When you buy a large quantity of something to have it on hand, you stock up. I need to stock up on coffee. We're running low. This phrase comes from the idea of a stock or supply. You're building your stock. Number 7, run out of something. The opposite, when your supply is depleted. We've run out of milk. Can you grab some on your way home? Note the preposition of is essential here. Run out alone means to leave quickly. Number 8, grab something. In casual speech, grab replaces get or buy when the action is quick and informal. Can you grab some bread while you're at the store? Let's grab coffee tomorrow. It implies casualness and speed. You wouldn't say grab in formal writing. Number 9, take care of something. This versatile phrase means to handle, deal with, or complete a task or responsibility. I'll take care of the dishes tonight. Can you take care of this paperwork? It's more natural and less formal than handle or complete. Number 10, get around to doing something. When you finally do something you've been postponing, I really need to get around to organizing the garage. This phrase acknowledges procrastination, but with a gentle, non-judgmental tone. It's very common in everyday speech. Now let's explore phrases for social situations and relationships, the language of connection. Number 11, catch up. When you haven't seen someone in a while and want to update each other on your lives. We should catch up over coffee soon. It was great catching up with you. This is one of the most natural ways to suggest meeting someone. Number 12, touch base. A professional or casual way to say make contact or check in. Let's touch base next week about the project. It comes from baseball, touching each base as you progress. It implies brief, purposeful contact. Number 13, rain check. When you decline an invitation but want to reschedule. I can't make it tonight. Can I take a rain check? This idiom comes from baseball games that are postponed due to rain. The ticket becomes a rain check for a future game. Number 14, head it off. When two people immediately connect well. I met Sarah's friend and we really hit it off. This phrase suggests instant chemistry or compatibility, whether romantic or platonic. Number 15, hang out. The most casual way to say, spend time together. Want to hang out this weekend? It's informal and implies no specific plans, just being together. Number 16, drop by. To visit briefly, often without extensive planning. Feel free to drop by anytime. I'll drop by your office later. It suggests casualness and brevity. You wouldn't drop by someone's house for a 5-hour visit.
Number 17. Show up. To arrive or appear, often with implications about expectations. Half the people invited didn't even show up. It can be neutral or slightly negative, depending on context. Number 18. Bail on someone. To cancel plans or not show up, usually at the last minute. He bailed on me again, third time this month. This is informal and carries a slight negative connotation. It suggests unreliability. Number 19. On the same page. When people share the same understanding or agreement. Let me summarize to make sure we're all on the same page. This is common in both professional and personal contexts. Number 20. See eye to eye. To agree or share the same perspective. We don't always see eye to eye, but we respect each other. Interestingly, you can not see eye to eye with someone, but still work together effectively. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep improving your English with us.
These phrases describe conditions, states, or qualities. They add color and authenticity to your English. 21. Dad bod. A colloquial, somewhat affectionate term for the physique of middle-aged men who aren't particularly fit. He's embraced his dad bod. He's comfortable with himself. It's become a cultural term that's actually somewhat positive. It implies authenticity and lack of vanity. 22. Up in the air. When something is uncertain or undecided, our vacation plans are still up in the air. It evokes the image of something floating, not grounded, perfectly capturing uncertainty. 23. Up to speed. When someone has all the current information they need. Let me get you up to speed on what happened at the meeting. Common in professional contexts when someone needs to be informed or updated. 24. Out of the loop or in the loop. Whether you're informed about what's happening. I've been out of the loop. What did I miss? Keep me in the loop about any changes. 25. Under the weather. Feeling slightly ill, not at your best. I'm a bit under the weather today. I think I'm coming down with something. It's a gentler, more polite way to say you're sick. 26. Worn out. Extremely tired, exhausted. After that hike, I was completely worn out. It can apply to physical exhaustion and to objects that are old and damaged from use. 27. Fed up with something. Frustrated or annoyed to the point of intolerance. I'm fed up with the traffic in this city. This is stronger than just annoyed. It implies you've reached your limit. 28. Cut out for something. Naturally suited to a particular role or task. I don't think I'm cut out for working night shifts. Often used in the negative to express that something isn't a good fit. 29. All set. Ready, prepared, or complete. Are you all set for the presentation? I'm all set. Let's go. Very common in American English as a casual affirmation of readiness. 30. Good to go. Similar to all set, ready to proceed. I finished the report. We're good to go. These phrases describe actions, decisions, and how we navigate choices. Number 31. Go for it. Encouragement to take action or make a bold choice. You're thinking about applying? Go for it. It implies support and confidence in the other person's decision. Number 32. Play it by ear. To decide as you go without fixed plans. I'm not sure what time I'll arrive. Let's just play it by ear. This idiom comes from music, playing without sheet music by listening. Number 33. Wing it. To improvise or do something without preparation. I didn't prepare a speech, I'm just going to wing it. Slightly more informal than play it by ear,
and specifically implies lack of preparation. Number 34. Call it a day. To decide to stop working or end an activity. We've been at this for 6 hours. Let's call it a day. Very common in work contexts when deciding to finish for the day. Number 35. Sleep on it. To delay making a decision until you've had time to think. This is a big decision. I'm going to sleep on it. Literally and figuratively, it suggests that rest and time provide clarity. Number 36. Bite the bullet. To force yourself to do something unpleasant but necessary. I need to bite the bullet and have that difficult conversation with my boss. The origin is literal. Soldiers would bite bullets during surgery before anesthesia. Number 37. Face the music. To accept consequences or criticism for your actions. I made a mistake and now I have to face the music. Similar to bite the bullet, but specifically about accepting accountability. Number 38. Take a rain check. We covered this earlier in social contexts, but it's worth emphasizing. This is how you politely postpone. I'm exhausted tonight. Can I take a rain check on dinner? Number 39. Touch and go. When a situation is uncertain and could go either way. For a while, it was touch and go whether the project would succeed. Often used for serious situations, like medical crises or business ventures. Number 40. Up for something. Willing or in the mood for an activity. Are you up for grabbing lunch? I'm not really up for going out tonight. Very casual and natural way to propose or decline activities.
These phrases refine how you express ideas and navigate conversations. 41. Long story short. Used when summarizing or skipping details. Long story short, we missed the flight, but everything worked out. This phrase signals you're abbreviating a longer narrative. 42. To cut a long story short. British variation of the above. Same meaning, slightly different wording. 43. Beat around the bush. To avoid saying something directly, often out of discomfort. Stop beating around the bush, just tell me what happened. Usually used in the negative as a request for directness. 44. Get to the point. Direct request for someone to state their main idea. I don't have much time, please get to the point. Can be brusque, so use carefully depending on relationship and context. 45. In a nutshell. To summarize briefly and concisely. In a nutshell, the plan is to launch next quarter. More formal than long story short, but still conversational. 46. For what it's worth. Preface when offering an opinion that might not be valued or relevant. For what it's worth, I think you made the right decision. It's humble and acknowledges your opinion might not carry weight. 47. Speaking of which, transition phrase when something just mentioned reminds you of a related topic. I saw Sarah yesterday. Speaking of which, did she email you about the meeting? Very natural for topic transitions in conversation. 48. By the way, another transition, introducing information that's related but tangential. I confirmed the reservation. By the way, they have valet parking. Extremely common in casual conversation. 49. Come to think of it. When you suddenly remember or realize something mid-conversation. I haven't seen Tom in weeks. Come to think of it, he might be traveling. Shows real-time processing and recollection. 50. Off the top of my head. When giving an answer without careful thought or research. Off the top of my head, I'd say we need about $5,000, but I'd need to verify. It's a disclaimer that acknowledges your answer might not be precise. We've covered 50 phrases, 50 ways to make your English sound more natural, more native-like, more authentic. But here's the thing. Knowing these phrases isn't enough. You need to integrate them into your active vocabulary. Here's how. First, Choose 5 phrases that resonate with you. 5 phrases you can see yourself using this week. Maybe it's I'm swamped, let's catch up, and play it by ear. Write them down. Second, use them consciously. Force yourself to use each phrase at least once in conversation or writing this week. Yes, it will feel deliberate at first. That's okay. That's how phrases move from passive to active vocabulary. Third, pay attention to context. When you hear native speakers use these phrases in movies, podcasts, or conversations, notice the context. How do they use it? What's the tone? What's the situation? Fourth, record yourself. Practice saying these phrases out loud with natural intonation. Record yourself and listen back. Do you sound natural? Adjust until it feels right. Remember, the difference between advanced fluency and native-like proficiency is subtlety. It's these everyday phrases, these small, authentic expressions that make you sound like you belong. You've done the hard work of reaching C1 and C2. Now it's about refinement. It's about sounding not just correct, but natural. And that happens one phrase at a time, one conversation at a time, one authentic expression at a time. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope these 50 phrases give you new tools for sounding more natural in your everyday English. Keep practicing. Keep listening to how native speakers actually talk, and keep refining your craft. You're not just learning English anymore. You're mastering it. This is Sadie, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, go forth and sound natural. Have you ever wondered why some people learn languages so quickly, while others study grammar for years but still can't have a simple conversation? The answer might surprise you. It's not about studying harder. It's about listening better. Today, I want to share something with you that changed how I think about language learning and about communication in general. Hi, everyone. I'm Sadie, and welcome to Artificial Fluency Podcast. Before we dive in, I want to say something from my heart. I upload new videos to our channel every day for you to learn and grow. Don't forget to support me so I can continue doing this. You can help me see our channel in front of more people by subscribing, becoming a member, liking, and commenting on each of my videos. Please don't forget to do these. Thank you so much for your support. Today's episode is about something we often overlook: listening. Not just hearing, but really listening. Most English learners focus on speaking, reading, and writing. They study grammar rules, they memorize vocabulary lists, they practice pronunciation. But here's what I've noticed. The learners who improve the fastest are the ones who listen the most. Why? Because listening is the foundation. Everything else, speaking, writing, even understanding grammar, becomes easier when you develop strong listening skills. And it's not just about English. Good listening skills transform your professional life, your relationships, and even your everyday experiences. Today, I'm going to share real stories about real people whose lives changed when they learned to listen better. We'll explore how listening helps you learn natural English, succeed at work, build stronger relationships, and navigate daily life more effectively. This is an intermediate level episode, so I'll use natural expressions and authentic language. Don't worry if you don't catch everything. That's part of the practice. Just relax, listen, and let the English flow over you. Are you ready? Let's explore why listening is everything. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep improving your English with us. Let me start by asking you something.
How did you learn your first language? You didn't start with grammar books, did you? You started by listening. For the first year or two of your life, you just listened. You absorbed the sounds, the rhythms, the patterns. Then, gradually, you started to speak. This is the natural order. Listening comes first. But when we learn a second language as adults, we often reverse this process. We study grammar rules before we've really heard the language in action. We memorize vocabulary lists before we've heard how those words are actually used. This approach can work, but it's not efficient. And it's not how language naturally sticks in your brain. Let me tell you about my friend Daniel. Daniel is a business owner, and a few years ago, he was trying to improve his English. He knew grammar well. He could read and write reasonably well. But when he tried to have conversations, he struggled. One day, Daniel had an important meeting with a potential client. The client said, "I'll drop by your office around 3 p.m." Daniel nodded and smiled. But inside, he was confused. Drop by? He didn't know this expression. He thought maybe the client was going to bring something and drop it off. So when 3 p.m. came and the client showed up at his office door, Daniel was completely surprised. He realized too late that drop by simply means to visit briefly. Daniel felt embarrassed, but he learned an important lesson that day. Textbook English and real-life English are often very different. So Daniel started listening to English podcasts during his commute. He watched interviews with business leaders. He paid attention to how people actually spoke, the expressions they used, the way they structured their sentences, the rhythm of their speech. And something amazing happened. Within a few months, Daniel's English transformed. Not because he studied more grammar, but because he listened more. He started using phrases like, "I'm swamped with work," instead of, "I'm very busy." He said, "Let's touch base next week," instead of, "Let's talk next week." His English sounded natural, not textbook. This is the power of listening to real-life English. Now, let me share another story. My friend John visited New York City for the first time. On his first morning, he went to a cafe. The barista greeted him with a friendly, "Hey, what's up?" John panicked. He knew up meant the direction opposite to down, so he looked up at the ceiling, confused. The barista laughed and said, "How are you?" John realized that "what's up" is just an informal way of saying, "How are you?" But he'd never heard this in his English classes. This is what happens when we only learn from textbooks. We miss the natural, everyday expressions that native speakers use constantly. So how do we bridge this gap? By listening to authentic English. Podcasts, YouTube videos, movies, conversations, these expose you to how English is really spoken. When you listen actively, you learn several things at once. First, you learn vocabulary in context. Instead of memorizing that swamped means very busy, you hear it used naturally. "Sorry, I can't meet today. I'm swamped with work." The context teaches you the meaning. Second, you learn pronunciation and rhythm. You hear how words flow together. "I'm going to" becomes "I'm gonna." "Want to" becomes "wanna." These are things you can't learn from a textbook. Third, you learn cultural nuances. You understand when it's appropriate to use formal language and when informal language is better. I have a friend named Emma who moved to Canada for university. She spoke excellent English, or so she thought. But when she arrived, she found it difficult to understand her Canadian classmates. Their accent was different from what she'd learned in school. So Emma started watching Canadian news channels. She listened to local podcasts. She paid attention to how her classmates spoke in casual conversation. Gradually, her ear adjusted. She could understand different accents. She could pick up on subtle differences in tone that indicated whether someone was joking or being serious. This is the foundation that listening provides. It prepares you for real-world communication in a way that textbooks simply cannot. Now, let's talk about something that might surprise you. Listening skills are one of the most valuable professional assets you can have. In fact, many employers say that good listening skills are more important than speaking skills. Why? Because people who listen well understand instructions clearly, pick up on subtle cues, avoid misunderstandings, and make others feel valued. Let me share some stories that illustrate this. My friend David immigrated to a new country to start his career. He had good English skills on paper, but in his first few months at work, he struggled in meetings. Everyone spoke so quickly. They used idioms and expressions he didn't know. They referenced cultural things he wasn't familiar with. David felt overwhelmed. He wanted to contribute, but he was afraid of saying something wrong or misunderstanding what was being discussed. So, David developed a strategy. Instead of trying to speak more, he decided to listen more carefully. During meetings, he focused completely on understanding the main ideas. When he didn't understand something, he asked for clarification. "Could you repeat that, please?" Or, "I want to make sure I understand. Are you saying that?" He took notes. He paid attention not just to words, but to tone and emphasis. When someone spoke with urgency, he knew it was important. When someone spoke hesitantly, he knew there might be concerns. Something interesting happened. His colleagues started to respect him more. They appreciated that he asked thoughtful questions. They noticed that when he did speak, it was relevant and well considered. Within a year, David was promoted to team lead, not because he spoke the most, but because he listened the best. Here's another story. My friend Michael works as an engineer in a multinational company. His team includes people from India, Brazil, the UK, and Japan. Initially, Michael found it challenging to work with such diverse accents and communication styles. In meetings, he sometimes missed important details because he couldn't quite catch what someone with a strong accent was saying. But Michael realized something important. His job wasn't just to speak English well, it was to understand and be understood across cultural boundaries. So he started practicing active listening with intention. When someone spoke, he focused not just on their words, but on their overall message. He looked at their body language. He asked follow-up questions to confirm understanding. He also started listening to podcasts and interviews featuring speakers from different countries. This trained his ear to adapt to various accents. The result? Michael became one of the most effective communicators on his team. He could bridge gaps between team members. He could summarize complex discussions in a way that everyone understood. His manager noticed. Michael was given more responsibility and eventually became the liaison for international projects. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep improving your English with us. Let me tell you one more professional story. This one is about job interviews. My student Javier was preparing for job interviews. He was nervous, not just about answering questions, but about understanding them correctly. Javier had a tendency to rush. As soon as an interviewer asked a question, he would start thinking about his answer, sometimes before they'd even finish speaking. I gave Javier one simple piece of advice. Listen to the entire question before you start formulating your answer. Take a breath, then respond. It sounds simple, but it was transformative. In his next interview, Javier practiced this technique. When asked, "Tell me about a time you handled a difficult situation," he didn't immediately panic and search his memory. Instead, he listened carefully to make sure he understood what they were asking for. He paused for a moment, thought carefully, and then gave a clear, relevant answer. The interviewers were impressed. They mentioned in their feedback that Javier seemed calm, thoughtful, and attentive, all qualities they valued. Javier got the job. This is what good listening does in professional contexts. It helps you understand instructions accurately. It prevents costly mistakes. It makes you appear more competent and confident. And here's the thing. In many professional situations, people aren't looking for someone who talks the most. They're looking for someone who listens well, understands clearly, and responds appropriately. Now, let's shift from the professional world to something equally important: personal relationships and everyday life. I've come to believe that listening is the most underrated skill in relationships. We're all taught how to express ourselves, how to speak up, how to share our feelings, but how often are we taught to truly listen? Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, my cousin Leo and I had a disagreement. It was about something relatively minor, but it had created tension between us. We decided to sit down and talk it out. But as we started talking, I noticed something. We weren't really listening to each other. We were both just waiting for our turn to speak. We were both preparing our arguments while the other person was talking. So I suggested something different. "Let's try this," I said. "When you speak, I'll just listen. I won't interrupt. I won't defend myself. I'll just try to understand your perspective. And then you'll do the same for me." It was hard, really hard. When Leo said something I disagreed with, I had to resist the urge to jump in. But I stayed quiet. I listened. And something surprising happened. When I truly listened, without planning my rebuttal, without judging, I started to actually understand where Leo was coming from. I could see why he felt the way he did. When it was my turn to speak, Leo did the same. He just listened. By the end of our conversation, we hadn't just resolved our disagreement, we understood each other better than we had in years. This experience taught me something profound. Listening is an act of love. It's saying to someone, "You matter. Your thoughts matter. Your feelings matter." Now, let me tell you about my friends Sarah and John. They're married, and like all couples, they sometimes have conflicts. One recurring issue was how they spent their weekends. Sarah wanted to go out and be social. John wanted to stay home and relax. Every weekend, this same conflict would arise. They would argue, compromise, but neither felt truly satisfied. Then they tried something different. Instead of arguing about what to do, they spent time really listening to why each person wanted what they wanted. Sarah explained that her job was stressful and isolating. Going out on weekends made her feel connected and energized. John explained that his job involved constant interaction with people. By the weekend, he was socially exhausted and needed quiet time to recharge. Once they really understood each other's needs, not just their wants, they could find creative solutions. Maybe they'd have a quiet Friday evening at home so John could decompress, and then go out Saturday afternoon when he felt more energized. The solution came not from compromise, but from understanding, and understanding came from listening. This is true in all relationships. When we listen, really listen, we build trust, we build connection, we build understanding. Now let's talk about everyday life. Listening skills help you navigate the world more effectively than you might realize. My friend Alina loves cooking. A few years ago, she started watching English language cooking tutorials on YouTube. At first, it was challenging. The chefs spoke quickly, they used specific cooking terms she didn't know. But Elena listened carefully. When a chef said, "Sauté the onions," she watched what they did. From context, she learned that sauté meant to cook quickly in a hot pan with a little oil. She listened to the rhythm of instructions. First, dice the vegetables. Then, heat the oil. Next, sauté until golden. Her cooking improved dramatically. But more than that, her English improved.
She learned vocabulary naturally in context. She learned to follow complex instructions. She learned to pay attention to details. And here's the interesting part. The listening skills she developed for cooking transferred to other areas. She became better at following directions when learning to use new software at work. She became better at understanding instructions from her doctor. Listening is a transferable skill. When you develop it in one context, it helps you everywhere. Let me give you one more everyday example. My friend Lucas was learning to drive. His driving instructor would give verbal instructions. Check your mirrors. Signal left. Watch for pedestrians. Lucas realized that he needed to listen very carefully, not just to the words, but to the tone. When the instructor's voice became urgent, Lucas knew to be extra cautious. By focusing on listening, Lucas learned to drive more safely and confidently. He passed his driving test on the first try. These might seem like small things, but they add up. Good listening skills help you learn new hobbies, navigate new places, make informed decisions, and stay safe. Listening is truly a life skill. Now that we've explored why listening is so important, let's talk about how to actually improve your listening skills. I'm going to share practical strategies that you can start using today. Strategy 1. Practice active listening. Active listening means giving your full attention to the speaker. It sounds simple, but it's surprisingly difficult in our age of constant distractions. Here's how to do it. When someone is speaking to you, put away your phone. Close your laptop. Turn off the TV. Give them your complete attention. Look at the person. Make eye contact. This shows respect and helps you pick up on nonverbal cues. Don't interrupt. Don't plan what you're going to say next. Just focus on understanding what they're saying right now. Show that you're listening with small verbal cues like, I see, or that makes sense. When the person finishes, take a moment before responding. This shows you're actually thinking about what they said, not just waiting to talk. I practiced this with my family, and they noticed immediately. My sister said, "It feels like you're actually here with me when we talk now." That feedback meant everything. Strategy 2. Listen to diverse English content. If you want to improve your English listening skills specifically, you need to expose yourself to a variety of English speakers. Listen to podcasts from different countries. Watch interviews with people from various backgrounds. This trains your ear to understand different accents, speeds, and styles of speaking. But don't just listen passively. Choose content that interests you. True crime, technology, cooking, whatever you're passionate about. When you're interested in the topic, you naturally listen more carefully. I recommend starting with content that has transcripts available. Listen first without reading. Then listen again while reading. Then listen a third time without reading. This technique really works. Strategy 3. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. This is crucial, and many learners struggle with it. They're embarrassed to admit they didn't understand something, so they pretend they did. But asking for clarification isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of good listening. It shows you care about understanding accurately. Use phrases like, "Could you repeat that, please? I'm not sure I understood. Did you mean? Could you explain what you mean by? Sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again?" I remember when my friend Michael, the engineer I mentioned earlier, started asking his colleagues to explain technical terms. He was worried they'd think he was incompetent. But the opposite happened. They respected him for wanting to understand clearly. It prevented mistakes, and it showed he was engaged. Strategy 4. Take notes while listening.
When listening to a lecture, a podcast, or an important work presentation, take notes. But don't try to write everything down. Instead, write down key ideas, new vocabulary, and anything you want to remember or follow up on later. This does two things. It keeps you actively engaged, and it gives you material to review later. I do this with podcasts. I keep a notebook and jot down interesting expressions or ideas. Later, I review my notes and try to use those expressions in my own speaking. Strategy 5. Listen for context. When you hear a word you don't know, don't immediately reach for your dictionary. Instead, try to guess the meaning from context. Listen to the sentences around it. Pay attention to the speaker's tone. Look at what's happening in the situation. This skill is incredibly useful in real-life conversations, where you can't stop and look up every word. For example, if someone says, "I'm feeling under the weather today," and they're sniffling and look tired, you can probably guess that under the weather means they're not feeling well. Strategy 6. Listen and repeat. This technique is particularly useful for improving both listening and speaking. Find a short audio clip, maybe a minute or two. Listen to it several times, then try to repeat what you heard, mimicking the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. This is called shadowing, and it's incredibly effective. It trains your ear and your mouth simultaneously. Record yourself doing this. Then listen to the recording and compare it to the original. You'll be surprised how much you learn.
We've covered a lot in the last 30 minutes. Let me summarize the key insights. Listening is the foundation of language learning. It's how we acquire natural vocabulary, learn authentic expressions, and develop an ear for the rhythm and flow of English. Listening is a professional superpower. It helps you understand instructions, avoid misunderstandings, and make better decisions. People who listen well are valued more than people who speak well. Listening strengthens relationships. When you truly listen to someone, you make them feel valued and understood. This builds trust and connection. Listening is a practical life skill. It helps you learn new things, navigate new places, and stay safe in everyday situations. And the beautiful thing about listening? It's a skill you can develop. With practice and intention, anyone can become a better listener. So here's my challenge to you. For the next week, practice one of the strategies we discussed today. Maybe it's active listening in your conversations. Maybe it's listening to English podcasts daily. Maybe it's asking for clarification instead of pretending to understand. Choose one thing and commit to it. And notice what changes. I think you'll be surprised at how much this simple practice transforms not just your English, but your entire experience of communication. Remember, language learning isn't just about speaking. It's about understanding, and understanding begins with listening. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for listening to this episode. You're already practicing the skill we've been discussing. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep growing. This is Sadie, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, open your ears and open your heart. The world has so much to teach you. Take care. Do you ever look at other people and think, they are doing so well, but me? I am behind. I am late. I am not good enough. Many people feel this way. Maybe you feel this way too. Today, I want to talk to you about this feeling, and I want to tell you something important. You are not behind. You are right where you need to be. Hi, everyone. I'm Sadie. Welcome to Artificial Fluency Podcast. Before we start, I want to say something from my heart. I upload new videos to our channel every day for you to learn and grow. Don't forget to support me so I can continue doing this. You can help me see our channel in front of more people by subscribing, becoming a member, liking, and commenting on each of my videos. Please don't forget to do these. Thank you so much.
Today, we will talk about a feeling, a very common feeling, the feeling of being behind. What does behind mean? It means late. It means not fast enough. It means others are ahead and you are still back there. Many people feel this way. They look at their friends. They look at people on the internet, and they think, everyone is doing better than me. But is this true? No, it is not true. Today, I will explain why. I will use simple words, I will speak slowly, and I will tell you stories. You don't need to understand every word. Just listen. Just relax. Your brain is learning. Are you ready? Let's begin. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep improving your English with us.
Let me ask you a question. When you were in school, what grade were you in? Maybe grade 1, then grade 2, then grade 3? Everyone moved together, right? Everyone was the same age. Everyone learned the same things at the same time. But then school finished, and life began. And in life, everyone is different. Some people get married at 25. Some people get married at 45. Some people start a business at 20. Some people start a business at 60. Some people find their dream job quickly. Some people search for many years. This is normal. This is life. But we forget this. We think life is like school. We think everyone should do things at the same time. This is not true. Life is not a race. Life is not a test. Everyone has their own time, their own speed, their own path. Let me tell you a story. I have 2 friends. Their names are Anna and Lisa. Anna got married at 23. She had a baby at 25. She bought a house at 27. Lisa is 30. She is not married. She doesn't have a baby. She doesn't have a house. Does this mean Lisa is behind? No. Lisa traveled to 20 countries. She learned 3 languages. She has a job she loves. Anna and Lisa are different. They have different lives, different dreams, different timelines. Neither one is behind. Neither one is ahead. They are just different. Now, let me tell you about a man. His name was Colonel Sanders. Do you know KFC, the chicken restaurant? Colonel Sanders started KFC when he was 65 years old. 65. Most people think 65 is too old. Most people think, I am too late. But Colonel Sanders didn't think this way. He started, and he was successful. So you see, there is no too late. There is no behind. There is only your time, your path, your life. Stop looking at other people. Stop comparing. Just walk your own path. This is very important. Let me say it again. Everyone has their own time. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be right now. Now, let me tell you about something interesting. How do you remember something? A story, a movie, a book. Do you remember the beginning, the middle, or the end? Most people remember the end. Think about it. You watch a movie. The movie is 2 hours long. Maybe the first hour is boring. Maybe you don't like it. But the last 30 minutes? Amazing, exciting, beautiful. Later, you tell your friend, that was a great movie. Why? Because the ending was good. You forgot about the boring parts. You only remember the good ending. This is true for life too. Your life is not finished. Your story is not over. Maybe right now things are hard. Maybe you feel sad. Maybe you think, my life is not good. But this is not the end. This is the middle. And the middle is always hard. The middle is always confusing. But the ending? You can make the ending beautiful. Let me tell you about a woman. Her name is J.K. Rowling. Do you know Harry Potter, the famous books? J.K. Rowling wrote those books. But before she was famous, her life was very hard. She had no money, she had a baby, she was alone, she was sad. People looked at her and thought, she is behind in life. She has problems. But then she wrote Harry Potter and everything changed. Now people don't remember her hard times. They remember her success. Her ending is beautiful. Her story is inspiring. So what does this mean for you? It means don't judge your life right now. Right now is the middle. The middle is always messy. Your ending is still being written. Keep going. Keep trying. Keep believing. Your story is not finished yet.
Now, I want to talk about something important, something many people don't like to hear. Sometimes we are not behind because life is unfair. Sometimes we are behind because we are too comfortable. Let me explain what comfortable means. Comfortable means safe, easy, no stress, no change. Comfortable feels nice, but comfortable can be dangerous. Let me tell you a story about a frog. There is a pot of water. The water is cold. A frog jumps in. The water is nice. The frog is happy. The frog stays. Then, slowly, the water gets warmer and warmer and warmer. The frog doesn't notice. Why? Because the change is slow. Finally, the water is very hot, too hot. The frog is in danger. But now it's too late. This is what happens to people too. We stay in a job we don't like. Why? Because it's comfortable. It's safe. We stay in a place we don't love. Why? Because change is scary. We don't try new things. Why? Because trying is uncomfortable. And slowly, we stay stuck. We stay behind. Not because we can't move, but because we choose not to move. Let me give you a real example. I know a man, his name is Tom. Tom worked at a company for 10 years. He didn't like his job. He was bored. He was unhappy. But every day he went to work. Why? Because the job was safe. The salary was okay. Tom's friends started businesses. They changed careers. They tried new things. Tom looked at them and thought, they are ahead. I am behind. But Tom didn't change. He stayed comfortable. 5 years passed. Tom was still in the same job, still unhappy. Then, one day, Tom thought, wait, I am not behind because life is unfair. I am behind because I am afraid to try. So, Tom made a decision. He quit his job, he learned a new skill, and he found work he loved. Now, Tom is happy. What changed? Tom left his comfort zone. Being comfortable feels safe, but being comfortable can stop you from growing. Sometimes we need to be uncomfortable. We need to try new things. We need to take risks. This is how we move forward. So ask yourself, am I behind because life is hard? Or am I behind because I am too comfortable? Be honest with yourself. If you are too comfortable, it's time to change. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep improving your English with us. Now, let me tell you something else. Something surprising. Many people think, if I am successful, I will be happy. They think, if I have money, a big house, a good job, then I will be happy. But is this true? Not always. Let me explain. When you get something new, you feel happy. For a little while. You get a new phone. You are excited. You are happy. But after 2 weeks, the phone is normal. You are not excited anymore. You get a promotion at work. You are happy. You feel successful. But after 1 month, the promotion is normal. You want the next promotion. This is called the hedonic treadmill. What does this mean? It means we are always running, always chasing, always wanting more. We get one thing, we feel happy, then we want the next thing. We are never satisfied. We are never enough. So, what does this teach us? It teaches us success doesn't always mean happiness. You can have a big house and feel empty. You can have a good job and feel sad. You can look successful to other people, but inside, you feel behind. This is why comparing to others is dangerous. You look at someone's Instagram, you see their new car, their vacation, their smile. You think, they are so happy, they are so ahead. But you don't see the full picture. You don't see their stress, their problems, their fears. Everyone has problems, even successful people. So stop comparing your life to other people's highlights. Stop thinking, if I have what they have, I will be happy. Instead, ask yourself, what makes me happy? What do I really need? Maybe you don't need a big house. Maybe you need good friends. Maybe you don't need a fancy job. Maybe you need a job that gives you free time. Maybe you don't need to be rich. Maybe you need to be peaceful. Real happiness comes from inside, not from outside. So don't feel behind just because you don't have what others have. You are not behind. You are on your own path, your own journey. Now let me tell you something powerful. If you are struggling, it means you are trying. If things are hard, it means you are growing. Let me say that again. Struggling is good. It means you are alive. You are active. You are moving forward. Think about it. If you never try new things, you never fail. But you also never succeed. If you always stay safe, you never struggle. But you also never grow. Struggling means you are in the game. You are in the fight. Let me tell you about a baby learning to walk. The baby falls. Again and again and again. Does this mean the baby is failing? No. Falling is part of learning. Struggling is part of growing. If the baby never tried, the baby would never walk. The same is true for you. Maybe you are learning English. It's hard. You make mistakes. Does this mean you are failing? No, it means you are learning. Maybe you are starting a new job. It's difficult. You feel lost. Does this mean you are behind? No, it means you are growing. Maybe you are trying to change your life. It's scary. It's uncomfortable. Does this mean you should stop? No, it means you are brave. There is a famous quote. It says, "It is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the person who is actually in the arena, whose face is covered with dust and sweat and blood." What does this mean? It means the person who tries is better than the person who only watches. The person who struggles is braver than the person who stays safe. So, if you are struggling right now, be proud. You are not behind. You are fighting. You are trying. And that is something to be proud of. Many people don't try. They sit and watch. They stay safe. But you are in the arena. You are trying. This is good. This is brave. Keep going. Don't give up.
Let me tell you one more important thing. Sometimes you are learning, but you don't see it. Sometimes you are growing, but you don't feel it. This is normal. Think about a tree. When you plant a seed, what happens? For many days, you see nothing. The ground looks empty. You think nothing is happening. This seed is dead. But under the ground, something is happening. Roots are growing. Deep, strong roots. You don't see them, but they are there. Then, one day, a small plant appears. Then it gets bigger. Then it becomes a tree. But the important work, the important growth, it was invisible. It was underground. The same is true for you. Maybe right now you feel like nothing is happening. You are working hard, you are trying, but you don't see results. You think, I am not moving forward. I am behind. But this is not true. You are building roots. You are learning things you don't see yet. You are becoming stronger, wiser, better. One day, the results will appear, like the tree appearing from the ground. But the real work, the real growth, it's happening right now, inside you. Let me give you an example. You are learning English. You study every day. Some days you feel good. You understand everything. Other days you feel confused. You think, I am not improving. I am not getting better. But this is not true. Every day you practice, your brain is changing. Your brain is building connections. You don't see it, but it's happening. Then, one day, you will speak English easily. You will understand naturally. And you will think, when did I get better? The answer? You were getting better all along. You just couldn't see it. So trust the process. Trust yourself. Even when you don't see results, you are growing. You are not behind. You are building your foundation. And a strong foundation takes time. We talked for 30 minutes today. We talked about feeling behind and why you are not really behind. Let me tell you the most important things again. 1. Everyone has their own time. Don't compare yourself to others. 2. Your story is not finished. The ending is still being written. 3. Being too comfortable can hold you back. Sometimes you need to try new things. 4. Success doesn't always mean happiness. Find what makes you happy inside. 5.
Struggling means you are trying. Be proud of yourself. 6. You are growing even when you don't see it. Trust the process. I want you to remember something very important. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Your life is your life, not anyone else's life. Walk at your own speed. Live your own story. Stop looking at others. Stop comparing. Just focus on today. Just take one step forward. You are doing great. I am proud of you. Thank you for listening to me today. Thank you for being here. I hope this helped you feel better. I hope you feel less stressed. Remember, you are enough. Right now, just as you are. Keep going. Keep trying. Keep believing in yourself. This is Sadie. I will see you tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. You've got this. Goodbye.